Welcome back, artists, to my channel. Today we are painting this kind of translucent little butterfly. I am using Dr. P.H. Martin watercolors, which is what I use for all of my artwork, and this is a 9x12 watercolor paper by Canson. I know a lot of people say you have to use 100% watercolor paper, 100% cotton. This is, I don't believe 100% cotton, at least it doesn't say so on there, but I love it. I use it with all my students, and I think it does really well, and it is budget friendly. So you're going to create like a pink color, and I wanted to do a little bit more of an organic pink, so I softened it with a little bit of a beige, and then I am painting on the pink wet on dry. So the paper is dry, and I'm just doing a very watered down paint color, and then I'm further lifting it with my either your paper towel or your napkin, just to really kind of give it that thin paint look. And then I'm just going to continue on with doing kind of different shades of pink throughout, to just create this, first to just obviously color in what I need to color in, and then to create that look of it being iridescent and on top of each other. We are going to put a darker, more opaque pink into where you would see the wings kind of overlapping, but for now I'm just kind of doing a very watered down. And as you can see, this next layer of pink is a very, very, very light color. It is almost just a tinted water, just to give it basically just to tint the paper a little bit darker, and then further lifting up that color, because I really, really want to just create this nice, soft shades to create this effect. So, and you can, of course, do any color you like. It doesn't have to be pink. I love pink, so I do a lot of pink stuff. It could be purple, it could be blue, it could be green. I think green would be very, very pretty, especially since I don't think we have green butterflies, do we? I'm trying to think. I know there's definitely yellow. And this is, I honestly couldn't even tell you what kind of butterfly this is. I don't even know if it's a real butterfly. It has kind of 3 wings happening, it seems like. So it might be just kind of a cross between a fairy and a butterfly, but that's the beauty of being an artist, right? You can make it whatever you want. But I'm just continuing on with this really light shade of pink, and just going to keep doing that until I finish the wings. So now, as you can see, that's where that opaque is coming in. So less watered down, more concentrated pink color, and I'm putting it only where the 2 wings would overlap. So you kind of have to just eyeball it to see, but you want to just make sure that you triple check this part, because you can very easily, at least I very easily, could not do it correctly, and then it's just going to mess up the whole effect of it. So you just want to make sure you're doing it where it seems like it's continuously translucent. So if I went too high with this opaque, then it wouldn't look like it's the wing underneath it, if that makes sense. And then just fill in these darker pinks where they belong, kind of where the wings overlap. So I painted this, I don't know if you could tell by my nails, but I painted this over Christmas. I opened up my new art studio February 1st, and it has been, I cannot believe we are just days away from May, and I'm just now doing a video since Christmas. I just kind of looked at my last upload, and I mean, I've been doing the shorts and stuff, but I just cannot believe how much I've been slacking on all of this. So I apologize, because there is no excuse for it, but I'm making one anyway. I opened up my art studio, and I'm absolutely in love with my art studio. At first I was super stressed. I didn't know if I was making the right decision, and it has just been such a haven for me. I have students that come in, and they will spend a couple hours catching up on projects, and it's been really, really nice for me, because when I'm here at the studio, I'm working, and then when I'm done, I go home, and I'm home with my family. So there's no crossover of work. Well, I can't say none, because I have my laptop, so I do things like my event setup and different things like that, and video editing, but it's definitely a lot less convoluted between work and home life. So that is what I've been doing. I think I feel like I'm settled in now. We're going into the summer. Um, I tend to kind of scale back quite a bit in the summer with my events, mostly because everybody here, myself included, we want to be out in the beautiful weather. So nobody wants to be inside painting, including myself, even though I enjoy it very much. So hopefully I will catch up with some videos. I have some really, really awesome things planned for my channel. I'm going to be doing some business videos, and I'm going to be doing some marketing tips. So if you have an Etsy or you have a creative business, and then we'll be separated, so there won't be any confusion. But it's going to coincide with my podcast, which is for creative business people. So I have some fun things planned. Besides that, I have some fun tutorials coming up. This is one of them. But if you have any special requests, besides liking and subscribing, which of course helps me out, send me an email at tinawilliamsart@gmail.com to let me know, hey, you know what, I'm really struggling with such and such, or I would really love to just up my craft on this kind of technique. Let me know. I am here to help you guys in whatever way you are needing. And one of the great things about me teaching classes in person is that I'm able to see firsthand what people are needing. And so I've been implementing that a bit in my teaching. I am constantly trying to improve my way of teaching just so I can get better and better for you guys. So I love the feedback when you're like, I'm just not getting such and such. So one of the videos I have coming up, which is probably something that I get asked the most about, and it's funny because I should have figured this out, but I didn't, is how much water to use. And if that's something that you struggle with, let me know, because I will do a video on that, because I have a lot of my students, my regulars, are saying they just don't know when to use more water, when to use less water. So I might dedicate a whole video to that. So let me know if that's interesting to you. But back to the butterfly. So I did the opaque, darker colors where the wings overlapped, like I said. And now I'm taking an even deeper, more opaque shade, in which this would be a lot less water. And I'm just doing I guess they're like the vines or the veins of the butterfly wing. I don't necessarily know. I'm assuming they're veins. I don't know. I don't know the anatomy of a butterfly. Of the butterfly, I'm just going over. But you have to make sure that it is, of course, dry before you do this, because you don't want this part to bleed. So once you finish the wings, maybe just use that as your time to go get a coffee, which is usually what I do. I get my coffee, or if I'm really busy, I'll just start another art piece while one's drying. Because I've noticed, and I do this too, and I see my students doing this, is if you're waiting for things to dry and you're just staring at it, you never wait long enough. You just kind of jump in when you think you can, and it's just not as dry as you hope it would be. So, and this looks really kind of dark here, but it's not. It's like, I mean, it is dark. It's not black. It's like a very, very dark maroonish pink color that I'm using. And I'm doing it thicker here because I want it to show the shadow of the wing overlapping. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm doing it on both sides, of course. And if you're new to my channel, first of all, welcome. And then also, like here, I speed up quite a bit of my videos. Like I'm definitely not painting this fast in real life. You can tell it's kind of sped up. I do that in the parts that are just kind of repetitive. I still want you to be able to see what I'm doing, but I also know you don't need to spend the next 30 minutes watching me do singular lines here and there. You're like, yeah, I get it. So I try to speed it up, or I cut out parts of, where I'm just mixing colors or replacing paint. Just things that I just think will slow down the video. And so if you're looking at this and you're like, wow, how did she paint this in less than 25 minutes? I didn't. I think altogether, this took me probably, not including waiting for it to dry, probably about an hour, maybe even a little bit longer. I painted this back, gosh, over 4 months ago, so I don't remember, but this one did take me at least an hour, I want to say, just between, taking my time with making sure the lines were straight, things like that. I just took my time with it. So If you're thinking that I would never be able to paint this in 25 minutes, well, neither can I. It's sped up. There's parts skipped to it. As you can see, I just kind of like just little, even a second here and there where I'm just moving my hand around just to make the video flow a little bit better. And also, I I use different brushes. I don't really go into brushes and stuff that I use while I'm doing the video. I try to include that in the description. I think, for me, the reason I don't mention brushes is because different people are going to be comfortable with different kinds of brushes to do different techniques. So for me, I don't mind using a big brush to do thin lines. I like the point I can create from them. Some people really just want to work with a fine liner brush. So I encourage you to play with brushes just to see what you're comfortable with, because what works for me is not necessarily going to work for you. I will mention generally what brushes I'm using. Like this one, I love the snap brushes by Princeton because they're a little bit firmer, so I can get those nice lines in there. But to do like the bigger wing part, I would do a softer, like a mop brush or a quill brush. I use those terms interchangeably. So now I'm adding gold, and I'm actually using a dotting tool here. So these dotting tools are really, really common for things like mandala rocks, like painted mandala rocks, or just dots in general. So I'm using these gold paints. These I will link. I will put a link below for the gold paints that I have here. I like them. I've used them for a very, very long time. They last a very, very long time. I make my own paints now, though, when it comes to the metallics. So I don't use them anymore. And I've created a consistency with the gold paint that I think works better for what I do. But this is absolutely going to be good enough for you guys if you want to use the gold paint, because I literally used them for years before I started making my own paints. So I'm just adding these little dots. I don't think you can even tell that it's gold here, but it is. It's gold. You can see it in person. It's very pretty. It just gives that kind of iridescent fairy feel to it. I think it would have looked just as pretty with like a silver metallic. So whichever you prefer. And then as far as the stencil goes, I will put a link below to this one. You could just print out the image and stencil it onto your paper. I will put what you can use to stencil it. A lot of people just use the light of the window. You can use carbon paper, whatever you want. Or you can just freehand draw it. It's not a terribly complex one, but if you just really want to get into painting, you don't want to have to deal with sketching out. Tracing's fine. I am definitely a proponent of tracing. It's how I learned how to draw, and it's still my go-to if I'm running short on time and I really need to get like a home portrait done. I'm up front with my clients as well. Like I do trace the homes because I can spend 8 hours drawing a home out, or I can spend 30 minutes tracing it, and it's more about the finished product with the painting. So as long as you don't say you're drawing something that you're not, I think you're fine. And like I said, I learned how to draw by tracing. We learn how to write by tracing. So I always encourage people to trace, because I think it takes away also the frustration of a painting. I think a lot of times people are frustrated with their work because of how it looks, and it has to do with the drawing or the perspective and not so much the paint. So if you're learning how to paint, don't make your life harder than it has to be. Don't do things that are going to stress you out. Don't do things that are going to make you not enjoy it as much. So I fully support tracing. So I will attach a link with this picture so you can print it out and you can trace it. Or if you want to just, pull up some other images, Pixabay, Pixabay.com is also another great website with some license-free images you can use. If you use it for more than just like practicing or something, you could just donate a couple bucks here and there just to thank the artist for their time. You don't have to. I understand money is tight for a lot of people right now, but if you can, it helps everybody. Every little bit helps, right? So anyways, if you've listened to my videos before, I apologize, because I don't know if I'm talking really fast, but I'm definitely struggling with talking today because I went to lunch with my girlfriend, and my lunch was super salty. I had a brisket sandwich with coleslaw on it, and it was really good, except it was so salty that my lips actually felt swollen at the end of it. I'm like, oh, this is a lot of salt. And I actually have drank probably like 3 bottles of water in the last hour, and it just does not seem to be helping. So if you guys have any cures, I mean, obviously by the time you even listen to this or comment, it will be a long past. But for future reference, if you have any cures besides just drink a ton of water, let me know, because this is kind of, it's not helping with the talking. So as you can see, I am just really working this gold in. The gold is just, it doesn't flow as well as the regular watercolor. It's a lot thicker, so it just takes a lot more going back and forth with the palette and just getting it down to the point that I want it. And one of the things that I did with this one, I smeared it. And so when you are waiting for it to dry, like I said, just walk away. Walk away from the painting, let it dry, let it do its thing. I did end up smearing it, and it doesn't bother me that much, but I know it will bother other people. I'm not planning on selling this or anything, so I didn't care. It was more for the video. But just trust me. Just walk away from your painting when you need it to dry. Even when I'm teaching like a sip and paint, there's times like if we're doing something that's very like any kind of galaxy night or a night sky, when we are going very heavy with paint and then we have to wait for it to dry to add the stars or whatever it is, there is that period where we're waiting for it to dry and people get very antsy, and I'm like, do I need to take your painting away from you? And they kind of laugh because it's true. We do. So just walk away when you need to so you don't make my mistakes. Do as I say, not as I do, right? So you can definitely see the gold more, I think, here than you could before. It is the same gold throughout, but the camera doesn't pick it up as well as it does in person. If you've used these metallics, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. So if you're watching this and you've never used metallic watercolors, some of them aren't as, what's the word, metallic-y? Metallic-y. I don't know what the word is. They don't look as shimmery, and some do. This one is definitely a lot more shimmery in person than it is coming across on camera. So if you're thinking you want to skip this step because it just doesn't look as vibrant or shimmery to you, don't let the video deceive you. It pops in person. And then sometimes you can see certain angles, like right there, you can see the corner of the wing. You can really see the gold in that area. So pretty much the rest of this video is going to be just that, me adding the gold to that. So I am going to shut up now and let you enjoy the rest of this while I finish it up. You can see exactly where the gold goes and the finishing touches. But like I said, let me know what you want me to help you with in the next video by leaving a comment below. And otherwise, I hope you have a wonderful day.